GamingBolt presents 15 weird things about Overwatch that are true. Blizzard Entertainment's Overwatch has soared to astronomical heights since launch, with more than 40 million registered players, a successful esports league, and an upcoming World Cup. For as well as the game is doing, it's interesting to look at the current and past weirdness of Overwatch, because as much as we like the game, there's been some seriously weird stuff. Let's take a look. REINHARDT and DOOMFIST bugs. You've probably seen it happen on occasion, but Noble REINHARDT and villainous DOOMFIST have a lot of bugs. Like, a lot. Though Blizzard took to ironing out numerous problems with REINHARDT's charge and ultimate, it's still not strange to see both failing to connect with enemies. And don't get us started on the changes to Earthshatter, which seemingly make it instantaneous. DOOMFIST is no exception either, with such bugs as his slam doing no damage either because of breakable objects getting in the way or just because. The one SHIMADA. At one point, Hanzo was only one character, a cyber ninja who wielded both a bow and a sword. Feeling that the design wasn't focused enough, Blizzard split him into two characters, Hanzo and Genji, who would be brothers in storyline. You could also take this as original Hanzo being too powerful to be a single character, which is ironic given his current state. Gone but not forgotten. Hanzo's Storm Arrow. You know it and hate it, or you probably main him and love it. Regardless, Storm Arrow was introduced to replace Scatter Arrow and make Hanzo a lot more consistent as an attack hero. However, despite all the voice line changes and removal of Scatter Arrow from the game, during the hero select screen, Hanzo can still be seen holding it up. The signature pose has been front and center for a while, so it's strange that Blizzard wouldn't think to remove that as well. Payload speed and capture differences. Though the full video has yet to be uploaded, Team Canada community lead Nathan Karkyu-chan discovered some interesting details about payload capture times and speeds. Essentially, the payload is neither captured in the same time nor travels at the same speed on all escort and hybrid maps. For example, though Eichenwald's payload on point A is captured in 25 seconds, it takes 30 seconds for the same on Hollywood. This is likely to account for map balance, since some maps may be bigger or smaller than others, but it's interesting all the same. Fictional Blizzard universe. When Blizzard first revealed Blizzard World, it did so by showcasing characters like Tracer watching it on TV. Likewise, the amusement park, meant to celebrate all things Blizzard, carries the implication that it's actually a fictional property in the Overwatch universe. Though Overwatch has been connected to Blizzard properties before, see Heroes of the Storm, this essentially paints Overwatch as a universe close to our own but set in the far future. Bastion's barrier. Numerous heroes were different during the closed beta days, but none more so than Bastion. He started off with only 200 HP and 50 armor, but had an obnoxious barrier with 1000 health in siege mode. His turning radius was limited to 180 degrees, but it was still highly annoying to counter. After feedback and other changes, Blizzard finally gave him 200 HP and 100 armor while taking away the barrier entirely at launch, but with the ability to turn 360 degrees in siege mode. PHARAH-MERCY voice line glitch. The PHARAH-MERCY fandom is small but rather vocal, so if anyone was going to notice this, it would be them. Around launch, Overwatch had a dialogue exchange between Mercy and PHARAH. In the preparation stage, Mercy would say, "Keep the skies clear for me," while PHARAH would reply, "Let's keep the skies clear together." However, over time, this exchange was seemingly removed. Lead writer Michael Chu clarified in October of 2016 that it was unintentionally deactivated due to a dialogue system change. While some report the exchange still being inactive, I only recently heard PHARAH's line played, so it still seems to be there but not interacting as it normally should, for some people anyways. SYMMETRA'S REWORKS. If you played the closed beta for Overwatch, the prestigious club that few were allowed into, then you probably thought Symmetra was either OP or not good enough. Regardless, like many heroes, she saw some nerfs at launch. Her pick rate wasn't exactly the greatest overall, so Blizzard took to reworking her, providing a new ability, Photon Barrier, faster uptimes for turrets, and a second ultimate, Shield Generator. She still wasn't picked all that much, so another rework was made, allowing her to throw turrets, summon an enormous photon wall, deploy a teleporter normally, and so on. Till date, Symmetra has had 3 different ultimates to work with. Project Titan classes. Before it was Overwatch, Blizzard's Project Titan was meant to be an MMO. We already know that many of the same assets, ideas, and designs from Titan would carry over into Overwatch. However, it's interesting to learn that the current characters were actually the archetypes for different classes. Tracer was originally the jumper class and retained many of her same abilities, though she was initially male. Symmetra was originally Architect and had the ability to buff people with orbs, which is now Zenyatta's core support ability. And the Reaper class is, well, Reaper, just without a Magnum. Headshot glitch. Have you ever wondered why, during some esports matches, a Mercy will spin around rapidly while resurrecting someone? That's because there's a strange glitch in the game where her hand will block headshots. Hanzo has this very same bug when his bow is drawn, preventing any shots from reaching his head, and the jury's really out on whether it's been fixed or not. Regardless, headshotting Mercy during Resurrect is still annoying. Chris Metzen's role. Blizzard's Chris Metzen should be well known to fans of properties like StarCraft, Warcraft, and Diablo. After all, Metzen, who spent 23 years working at the company, didn't just provide scripts for these franchises, he also helped create their entire universes. Metzen has since retired from Blizzard but does voice a hero in Overwatch. Which one? Well, Bastion, of course. Yes, all those boops and beeps are actually someone speaking but modified to provide that authentic Omnic charm. Diva's retcon. Hannah Song, aka Diva, is one of the most beloved and yet reviled off-tanks in Overwatch history due to her abilities. However, hardcore fans always agreed on her backstory, that she was a former StarCraft pro player who joined MEKA, Korea's mobile suit force, to combat the Omnics. Or so we thought. At some point, lead writer Michael Chu said that Diva wasn't, in fact, a StarCraft pro, labeling it a common misconception. Chu later clarified that it was actually a detail that Blizzard failed to really clarify as he described the process of throwing Diva into the StarCraft World Championship Series site and labeling her a professional gamer before Overwatch released. He then noted that she is a world champion, but StarCraft isn't her best game, which is what the original retcon was attempting to clarify. Confusing? Well, Overwatch was shut down for a reason. Thousands of lines, 12 languages. One of Overwatch's calling cards is the thousands upon thousands of lines of dialogue. Between voice lines, interactions, callouts, and whatnot, you could spend months playing the game and still hearing something new, especially since Blizzard keeps adding more. However, the really crazy thing is that Overwatch supports 12 different spoken languages, so the actual number of voice lines in the game is exponentially higher. And honestly, if you haven't played the game in Korean, you're really missing out. Trademark issues. After its initial announcement, Overwatch kind of went under the radar for a bit. Considering how strong a reaction it got, this was strange. It was later revealed that Blizzard was in a trademark dispute with Innovis Labs, who had an application for paintball and laser tag matches that is also called Overwatch. Eventually, the dispute was resolved and litigation settled with Innovis surrendering its trademark. Under what terms? Well, that's still unknown to this day, but hey, there is now only one Overwatch. No role queue or match replay. Whether you think it's a MOBA, FPS, hero shooter, or whatnot, Overwatch is highly team-focused, so having players who can fulfill the right role is paramount, especially if the meta keeps shifting. However, unlike many MOBAs, Overwatch lacks a proper role queue for competitive play, preventing players from queuing and playing what they're good at, if solo that is. The recent Looking for Group function does address this somewhat, so it might not matter to some, but what about the lack of a proper match replay feature? Highlights and all exist, but the ability to rewatch an entire match like every other high-profile competitive game out there is still missing. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.